Once upon a time, in the busy kingdom of Benares, there was a rich and powerful king. His palace was full of treasures, gold, jewels, and other precious items. These riches showed how successful and wealthy the kingdom was. To make sure everything was fair, the king had a trusted valuer who would decide the true worth of goods, whether it was a rare gem, a strong horse, or an elephant. This valuer was known for his honesty and fairness, and because of him, trade in the kingdom was smooth and just. But the king started to feel greedy. He thought, if this valuer keeps giving out fair prices, I might lose too much of my treasure. I need someone who will work in my favor. One day, as the king looked out of his window, he saw a simple, clueless villager walking by. The king thought, this man looks eager to please and not too smart. He will do exactly what I want. So, the king called the villager and asked, can you tell the value of things? The villager, wanting to impress the king, said, of course, Your Majesty. Even though the villager had no experience, the king made him the royal valuer. The new valuer's decisions caused trouble right away. He didn't understand the true worth of anything. Priceless horses were valued at just a handful of rice, while cheap items were praised as if they were treasures. Merchants were confused and angry. People began whispering about how foolish the new valuer was, and the once thriving marketplace became chaotic. One day, a horse dealer arrived with 500 of the finest horses anyone had ever seen. Their beauty and strength were unmatched. Confident about their value, the horse dealer brought them to the king. The king ordered his new valuer to decide the price of the horses. The foolish valuer looked at the horses and declared, these 500 horses are worth 1 measure of rice. The horse dealer was shocked. This is an insult, he thought. He knew the horses were worth far more. Desperate to fix the situation, he went to the wise former valuer for advice. What should I do? The horse dealer asked. How can I show the king how wrong this is? The wise valuer said with a smile. Offer the foolish valuer a small bribe and ask him to tell you how much that rice is worth in front of the king. If he agrees, bring him to court. I will come too. Following the advice, the horse dealer went to the foolish valuer. If you think my horses are worth a measure of rice, then tell me, how much is that rice worth? Let's ask the king to decide, he said, offering a small bribe. The foolish valuer agreed, not realizing the trap. A meeting was called in the royal court. The king, curious about the commotion, gathered his ministers and nobles to hear what was going on. The king asked, what is the value of these 500 horses? The valuer confidently repeated, 1 measure of rice, Your Majesty. The wise valuer, standing in the crowd, spoke up, Your Majesty, if these horses are worth 1 measure of rice, then let us hear what this valuer thinks that rice is worth. The foolish valuer, proud of his answer, puffed out his chest and said, that rice is worth the entire kingdom of Benares and all its surrounding lands. The court erupted in laughter. Ministers and merchants couldn't believe what they were hearing. This man just said our entire kingdom is worth a handful of rice, they exclaimed. The king, embarrassed and angry, realized his mistake. He turned to the wise valuer and said, you were right. Wisdom and fairness are worth more than anything. Please take your position back and help restore order to my kingdom. The wise valuer agreed, and the foolish one was dismissed. The kingdom returned to peace, and the marketplace thrived once again. What the people of Benares did not realize was that their wise valuer was destined for a greater purpose. In another life, he would be reborn as the Buddha, continuing to share the timeless lessons of fairness, wisdom, and compassion. The tale of the foolish valuer was not just a story of a mistake corrected, but a profound example of how wisdom and integrity shape lives and societies. Later, the Buddha recounted this story to his followers, saying, "True value can only be seen through the lens of knowledge and fairness. Decisions driven by greed and ignorance create disorder, but those rooted in wisdom bring harmony and prosperity." In life, rushing to decisions or choosing people for the wrong reasons can cause problems. Wisdom and fairness may take more effort, but they always lead to better results. When we underestimate the value of knowledge, we risk creating chaos, just like the king did. Let this tale remind us to think carefully, value wisdom, and act with fairness in all parts of our lives.